I assume you're more than intimately familiar with the following setup. I just enter a room with nothing but a hole in it. I jumped in, and now I can't really go back. There's no anchor that I could use, no jump pad. There is, however, this little thing, and when I interact with it, I gain a new ability. In Astortion, these are called drivers. The idea is that it's a piece of software that allows AST1 to interact with new devices. Now I can use this newly highlighted surface to leave this place. The way it works is that as long as you hold space, your gravity will be directed towards it. Let go of it and you fall back down. Of course, most of the things you see are programmer art that's definitely gonna change, but today I wanna explore how these abilities work under the hood. In Astortion, most gameplay mechanics require objects to influence each other's velocity and acceleration. Technically, we could account for that separately, in the update callbacks of respective objects. For instance, the jump pad would add velocity to anything that stands on it. But with all these different interactions, I find it much easier to reverse this process. Make the object that's being influenced responsible for calculating its own physics. In the case of the player, this job is done by a component called Physics Manager. Now, I'm not gonna get into the specifics of how physics are calculated, but the general idea is that the manager first iterates over every anchor in the scene. It finds the one that's closest to the cursor, and if the player is interacting with it, it stores the relevant forces. This is also where the state of the anchor is updated. It can be either out of reach, in reach, closest, connected, or activated. Then the same is done for jump pads, surfaces, and all other gameplay elements. Finally, all the forces are applied to the rigid body. Of course, there's lots of optimizations that we could make here, but what's important is that all we need to exclude a specific type of element is to simply ignore it in the Physics Manager. And that's exactly what happens. Before gathering the forces, we check if the player has the necessary driver, and only then account for the interaction. When it comes to actually acquiring the driver, I use the same interaction system I showed you in one of my previous devlogs. Pressing E starts a new interaction that displays information about the driver. The player can still walk freely, but if they walk away or press confirm, this information will disappear. Triggering this interaction also sets a dedicated typewriter fact to 1. So other systems, such as the Physics Manager, can then query it to check if the driver has been acquired. And of course, I can also use it to modify the dialogue. As you can see, there's really nothing new here. It's just a bunch of systems that I made before working together. And in fact, all the major systems that I had planned for Astortion are already finished. You may remember this rough development plan from some time ago. The save system is ready, quick travel can be set up using Cartographer. What I meant by encounters is now covered by typewriter. And as such, we can officially enter phase 3. Now, of course, it doesn't mean that we're not gonna go back and iterate on what we already have here. It just means that I'm confident enough to start working on the actual content for the game. As a celebration of this little milestone, I'll be streaming next Saturday on my second channel. We'll watch through some of the older devlogs, reminisce about the good old times, and talk about the future, so if you're interested, make sure to check the link in the description and set a reminder. Anyway, thanks so much to all my patrons, thank you for watching, and until next time.